In a galaxy far from Earth, the alien Queen Zilara sat on her grand throne, surrounded by opulence and power. Her jeweled crown glimmered under the flickering lights of her vast palace, a testament to her dominance over countless worlds. Zilara was a formidable ruler, known for her ruthless tactics and advanced technology. She commanded an army that struck fear into the hearts of all who dared to oppose her. Yet, despite her might, there was one thing she found amusing: idea of human warriors, sitting high above her subjects. Zilara often laughed at the mention of humans in her court, dismissing them as mere fables. Warriors? They are nothing but stories to scare children, she would declare, her voice dripping with disdain. Her advisors nodded in agreement, echoing her sentiments. Zilara had never encountered a human, and in her mind they were weak and fragile, a species destined for extinction. She believed that their tales of bravery were nothing more than myths, crafted by a desperate race clinging to hope. But beneath her confident exterior, Zilara was blind to the truth. On Earth, the remnants of humanity were far from weak. They had endured countless hardships, battling against the odds to survive. In underground bunkers and hidden enclaves, small groups of humans honed their skills, preparing for a day they knew would come, the day when they would have to face the alien invaders. The stories of legendary human warriors were not mere fables. They were rooted in truth, filled with bravery and sacrifice. In one such stronghold, a group of survivors gathered around a flickering holographic image of their queen. They spoke in hushed tones, sharing tales of heroism from their past. Among them was Alex Carter, a young man with a fierce spirit and a heart full of determination. He had lost his family to the alien onslaught, but had vowed to protect what remained of humanity. As he listened to the stories of the past, his eyes sparkled with hope and resolve. He believed that humanity could rise again, that they could prove Zilara wrong. While Zilara reveled in her power, humans were quietly preparing for an inevitable confrontation. Their determination grew with every passing day, fueled by the belief that they were not just fighting for survival, but for their very identity. They were warriors in their own right, willing to face the unknown to reclaim their world. Each person in that hidden stronghold carried the weight of their history, and the stories of their ancestors became a source of strength. They knew that the time would come when they would have to challenge the queen who had dismissed them so easily. As Zilara looked out over her empire, she felt untouchable, surrounded by her loyal subjects. She believed that no one could challenge her authority. With every victory, her arrogance grew, blinding her to the resilience of the human spirit. But deep down, there was a whisper of doubt, a nagging feeling that perhaps she had underestimated her enemies. After all, the very stories she dismissed as fables had survived centuries. Echoing through the ages, in the quiet corners of her palace, Zilara's advisors voiced their concerns. "Your Majesty, there are rumors of human uprisings," one of them insisted. "They are organizing, and their legends may hold more truth than you realize." But Zilara waved them off, her laughter cutting through the air. "Let them come," she scoffed. "I will crush them, as I have crushed all others." Her confidence was unwavering, but the seeds of doubt had begun to sprout. The stage was set for an epic clash between two worlds, one that thrived on arrogance and domination, and another that found strength in unity and hope. As the sun set on the alien queen's reign, the winds of change began to stir. Unbeknownst to Zilara, her belief in the fragility of humanity was about to be challenged in ways she could never have imagined. The fables she dismissed were about to come to life, and they would prove to be far more powerful than she could ever foresee. In the depths of a hidden underground stronghold on Earth, the air was thick with tension and determination. The walls, lined with makeshift posters of legendary human warriors, echoed with whispers of hope and courage. Here, in this sanctuary, a group of survivors gathered, each face etched with the struggles they had faced, but also filled with an unyielding spirit. Among them stood Alex Carter, his eyes burning with a fierce resolve. He was not just a young man. He was a symbol of humanity's fight for survival. As the flickering lights cast shadows on the faces of his comrades, Alex spoke passionately about the legends of their past. "We are not just stories," he declared, his voice strong and steady. "We are the embodiment of the strength our ancestors showed in the face of adversity. Every warrior who fought before us lives on in our hearts." His words resonated deeply within the group, igniting a spark of hope. They had endured countless battles, losing loved ones, and watching their world fall apart. But they refused to give in to despair. The stronghold was a patchwork of old technology and new ideas. A testament to human ingenuity, engineers worked tirelessly to repair weapons and create defenses, while others trained in combat, honing their skills in preparation for the fight ahead. Alex often joined them, pushing himself to the limits as he practiced day after day. With each swing of his makeshift weapon, he imagined the day they would confront the alien queen. He envisioned a future where humanity would rise from the ashes and reclaim their home. As the days passed, whispers of Xylor's arrogance reached their ears. The stories of her dismissive laughter and her belief in the weakness of humans fueled their determination. "She thinks we are nothing but fables," one of Alex's friends said with clenched fists. "Let her see what we can do." The room erupted in agreement, voices rising in a chorus of defiance. They knew that their strength lay not just in their weapons, but in their unity, their shared desire to protect their home and each other. One evening, as they gathered for a briefing, an unexpected visitor arrived, a former soldier named Marcus, who had survived the alien onslaught and escaped from captivity, stumbled into the stronghold. His face was marked with scars, and his eyes held stories of unimaginable horror. The room fell silent as he recounted his experiences, detailing the cruelty of the aliens and the relentless pursuit of Xylera's forces. But amidst his tales of suffering, there was also a glimmer of hope. "I witnessed a human warrior take down an alien commander single-handedly," Marcus said, his voice heavy with emotion. "It's true what they say. We are stronger than they think." Inspired by Marcus's story, Alex felt a surge of determination. He realized that each tale of bravery, no matter how small, contributed to a greater narrative of resistance. That night, as the group sat around a flickering fire, they shared their own stories of loss and hope, weaving a tapestry of courage that would become the foundation of their fight. They spoke of family members lost, of friends who had sacrificed everything, and of the dreams they held for a brighter future. As the night wore on, Alex knew that each person in that room carried their own pain, but also their own strength. Together, they were a force that could not be easily dismissed. "We will rise up," he promised, his voice steady and firm. "We will show Xylora that we are not just fables. We are warriors, and we will fight for our home in the quiet." Moments before dawn, the survivors prepared themselves for the challenges that lay ahead. They knew that the path would be filled with danger, but they were ready to face it together. As the first rays of sunlight broke through the darkness, they felt a renewed sense of purpose. Each heart beat with the rhythm of hope. Each soul burned with the fire of determination. They were not just fighting for survival, they were fighting for their very identity. The last human stronghold was more than a refuge. It was a beacon of hope, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. And as the day of reckoning approached, Alex and his comrades understood that their greatest weapon was not just their strength in battle, but the unbreakable bond they had forged. They were ready to challenge the alien queen and prove that humanity was far more than just a fable. It was a force to be reckoned with. The sun rose over the hidden stronghold, casting a soft glow on the weary survivors who had spent countless nights preparing for the impending clash with the alien invaders. Hope and anxiety mingled in the air, creating a heavy atmosphere. Carter stood at the entrance of the stronghold, gazing out into the distance. He could feel the weight of responsibility on his shoulders, but he also felt the fire of determination burning within him. Today would be different. They would face the enemy head-on. As morning broke, the sound of a distant rumble echoed. Through the valley, survivors gathered quickly, their hearts pounding in unison. News of the alien fleet's arrival spread like wildfire, igniting a mix of fear and resolve among them. The ground trembled beneath their feet as the massive ships descended from the clouds, blotting out the sun and casting eerie shadows over the landscape. Alex's heart raced, but he refused to show any sign of fear. He turned to his fellow fighters, their faces a mixture of anxiety and courage. "This is it," he said, his voice steady but full of emotion. "We fight for our homes, our loved ones, and our future. We are warriors, and we will not back down." The alien ships landed with a thunderous crash, sending dust and debris flying into the air. From the belly of the ships emerged the alien soldiers, tall and menacing, their armor gleaming in the dim light. They moved with precision, a well-oiled machine of destruction. Xylara's forces had come with overwhelming numbers, but the humans had something far more powerful, their unwavering spirit. As the aliens advanced, Alex and his comrades took their positions, gripping their weapons tightly, hearts pounding. With adrenaline, the first clash came swiftly. Aliens charged forward, their battle cries echoing through the air like a terrifying storm. Alex fought alongside his friends, each swing of his weapon fueled by the memories of those they had lost. The sound of metal clashing, shouts of pain, and cries of defiance filled the battlefield. In that moment, time seemed to slow down. Alex fought not just for himself, but for every human who had ever been dismissed as a fable, felt the weight of their stories propelling him forward, urging him to stand strong against the tide of fear. As the battle raged on, the humans found themselves pushed back, but they refused to give up. They fought with everything they had, using their knowledge of the terrain to their advantage. Alex led a small group to flank the aliens, hoping to surprise them. They moved stealthily through the ruins of a once great city, their hearts racing as they prepared to strike. This was their chance to show Xylara that they were not the weak beings she had imagined. They were fierce and resourceful, but the aliens had not underestimated the humans entirely. As Alex and his team launched their ambush, they were met with unexpected resistance. The aliens had anticipated their move, and a fierce firefight broke out. Alex felt the heat of battle engulf him, his senses heightened as he dodged blasts of energy. He fought with everything he had, drawing on the strength of his comrades and the stories of human warriors that had inspired him. Each moment felt like an eternity, and yet he pressed on, determined to prove their worth amidst the chaos. Alex caught a glimpse of Xylara observing the battle from a distance, her expression a mixture of curiosity and disdain. It was as if she could not fathom how a group of humans could stand against her powerful empire. In that moment, Alex felt a surge of anger and determination. He understood that this was not just about survival. It was about dignity and proving that humanity was far more than a fable. He would not let her mock them any longer. As the battle continued, the humans began to rally together, their spirits ignited by the realization that they were fighting, not just for their survival, but for their identity. They fought with a ferocity that caught the aliens off guard, pushing back against the tide of fear. Alex felt a renewed sense of hope as he fought alongside his comrades, their unwavering spirit shining through the darkness of the invasion. But the battle was far from over. As the day wore on, the humans knew that they had to strike a decisive blow against Xylara's forces. They were determined to show her that they were warriors, ready to defend their home and prove that the stories she dismissed were very real. Together, they would rise from the ashes and fight for the future of humanity, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The invasion had begun, but so had their fight for dignity, resilience, and hope. The battle raged on, and the sounds of conflict echoed through the ruins of the city. The sky, once bright and clear, was now darkened by the smoke rising from the fires of war. Alex Carter fought fiercely alongside his comrades, each clash of metal a testament to their bravery. However, despite their tenacity, the overwhelming might of the alien forces began to take its toll. As the day wore on, exhaustion crept into the hearts of the survivors, and despair threatened to take hold in the midst of the chaos. A loud, commanding voice cut through the din. Duh. It was Xylara, the alien queen, her presence radiating power and arrogance. She stood on a raised platform overlooking the battlefield, her eyes scanning the chaos below. "Enough," she shouted, her voice booming like thunder. You humans dare to defy me? I will crush you like the bugs you are." Her confidence was palpable, and her soldiers rallied around her, emboldened by her fierce demeanor. But Alex felt a spark ignite within him as he heard her words. Xylora's arrogance was her greatest weakness. "We are not bugs," he shouted back, his voice rising above the clamor. "We are warriors. We fight for our home, our families, and our future." The humans around him echoed his sentiment, their spirits lifted by his words. Xylora raised an eyebrow, intrigued by the audacity of this human. "Is that so?" she replied, a sly smile curling on her lips. "Then let us settle this once and for all. I challenge your best warrior to face me in combat. If you win, I will leave this planet and never return. If I win, you will kneel before me and accept my rule." The proposition hung in the air. Heavy with tension, humans exchanged nervous glances, their hearts pounding at the thought of facing the queen herself. Alex felt a mix of fear and determination. He knew that this was a dangerous gamble, but it was also an opportunity to prove their worth. He stepped forward, his heart racing. "I will accept your challenge," he declared, his voice steady despite the turmoil within. The crowd of survivors gasped, uncertainty mingling with admiration. Xylora's eyes glinted with amusement and curiosity. "Very well, human," she said, a mocking tone lacing her words. "Prepare to be humiliated." The ground shook with the footsteps of the alien soldiers as they cleared a space for the duel. The tension in the air was palpable as Alex stepped forward, his thoughts racing. He had trained for this moment, but facing the alien queen was unlike anything he had ever imagined. As the crowd of humans watched from a distance, fear gripped their hearts. They knew that Xylara was not just a powerful alien, she was a ruthless warrior. But Alex felt the presence of his comrades behind him, their unwavering support giving him strength. He could hear their whispers of encouragement, urging him to fight not just for himself, but for all of humanity. "You can do this." "Alex," one of his friends shouted, "fight for us." The duel began, and Xylara attacked with a speed and ferocity that took Alex by surprise. She was a whirlwind of power, her movements fluid and precise. Alex struggled to keep up, dodging blows and searching for an opening. The crowd watched in silence, their breaths held tightly as they witnessed the clash of two worlds, one fueled by arrogance and the other by sheer determination. As the battle unfolded, Alex quickly understood that Xylora's strength was not just physical. It was psychological as well. She taunted him, trying to break his focus. "You think you can defeat me?" she sneered. "You are nothing but a myth, a fading dream." But Alex shook off her words, reminding himself of the countless stories of human warriors who had fought for their freedom. With every strike, he channeled their strength, his determination growing stronger. As the fight continued, something unexpected happened. Alex began to see the patterns in Xylora's attacks. He realized that she was indeed powerful, but she also had a rhythm, a style that he could learn to counter. With newfound clarity, he focused on his breathing, grounding himself in the moment. He waited for the right opportunity, knowing that he had to be strategic. Suddenly, Xylora lunged forward, and in that moment, Alex saw his chance. With a swift movement, he sidestepped her attack and countered with a strike of his own. The impact surprised her, and for the first time, he saw a flicker of doubt in her eyes. The crowd erupted in cheers, fueled by hope. Alex felt a surge of energy, a connection to all those who had fought before him. He wasn't just fighting for himself, he was fighting for humanity, as the clash of their wills continued. The realization dawned on Alex. This battle was about more than just victory or defeat. It was about proving that they were not fables. They were warriors, fierce and unyielding. In that moment, he knew that he had the strength of an entire race behind him. The duel was far from over, but Alex was ready to show Xylora that humanity would not be so easily dismissed. The fight for their future had only just begun. The air crackled with tension as Alex and Xylora continued their fierce duel, each clash of their weapons ringing out like thunder across the battlefield. The crowd of humans watched with bated breath, their hearts pounding in unison. With every strike, Alex felt the weight of their hopes resting on his shoulders. He fought not just for his own survival, but for every human who had been dismissed as a fable. by the alien queen. As the battle wore on, Zealora's arrogance began to waver. Alex's agility and determination surprised her, and for the first time, she found herself struggling to keep up with his relentless spirit. He had learned her rhythm, and with each passing moment, he grew more confident. "You underestimate us, Zilara," he shouted, dodging another one of her powerful attacks. "We are not just stories. We're real, and we will not be silenced." With every word, Alex could feel the energy of his fellow survivors behind him, their cheers echoing in his ears. Their belief in him fueled his strength, and he pushed himself harder. As he launched a series of calculated strikes, he noticed a flicker of something new in Zilara's eyes, a hint of uncertainty. It was a small change, but it ignited a spark of hope within him. He realized that she was beginning to see him not just as a human warrior, but as an equal adversary. In a moment of fierce concentration, Alex found an opening. With a swift motion, he launched a powerful kick that sent Zilara stumbling back. The crowd erupted in cheers, their voices rising like a wave of hope. Zilara steadied herself, her expression now one of surprise and frustration. "How can you fight like this?" she demanded, her voice laced with disbelief. "You are supposed to be weak." Alex seized the moment, his heart racing. "We're strong because we fight for each other," he replied, his voice steady. "Are united by our stories, our struggles, and our dreams. You may see us as myths, but we are more than that. We're humanity." He felt the truth of his words resonate deep within him, and he knew he had to press on as the battle continued. Alex's confidence grew, and Zilara's arrogance began to crack. She had come to Earth believing that she could easily crush these so-called warriors, but now she faced a formidable opponent who challenged her every move. The tide was turning, and for the first time Zilara felt the weight of her own misconceptions. Could it be that the humans were not the weaklings she had thought? The duel raged on, and each strike brought with it a deeper understanding of their respective strengths. Alex was not just fighting for himself, he was fighting for the very essence of humanity. He remembered the faces of those he had lost, the stories of bravery that had inspired him, and the hopes of those who believed in him. With every attack, he channeled their strength, his resolve unyielding. Zilara, on the other hand, found herself grappling with a realization that shook her, confidence to its core. She'd always seen herself as the pinnacle of power, the ruler of a vast empire. But now she was confronted with the undeniable truth. Humanity was resilient, fierce, and capable of greatness. Alex's determination sparked something within her, a sense of respect for the very being she had dismissed for so long. As the battle reached its climax, Alex launched himself into a final, powerful strike. He aimed not just to defeat Zilara, but to show her the strength of humanity. The air crackled with energy as their weapons collided, sending shockwaves through the battlefield. In that moment, something shifted. Zilara staggered back, her expression changing from arrogance to genuine surprise. "What are you?" she whispered, the question hanging in the air like a heavy weight. Alex seized the opportunity, his voice firm yet filled with emotion. "I am a warrior," he declared. "I am the hope of a people who refuse to be silenced. We are not just fables. We are a force to be reckoned with." The weight of his words resonated through the air, and for the first time, Zilara saw the truth of his statement. She was not facing a mere human. She was confronting the spirit of an entire race. In that moment of connection, something changed within Zilara. The arrogance that had defined her began to crumble, replaced by a newfound understanding. She realized that the stories she had dismissed were rooted in truth and resilience. The duel was not just a battle for supremacy. It was a revelation that would alter the course of their conflict. As the dust settled and the echoes of their battle faded, Zilara stood before Alex, no longer just a conqueror, but a queen, faced with a choice. The challenge had transformed into a moment of reflection, a bridge between two worlds. In that fleeting moment, both warrior and queen understood that their destinies were intertwined. And the fight was not just about victory or defeat, but about understanding and respect, with the weight of their shared experiences hanging in the air. The future of humanity and the alien empire rested on this pivotal moment. Would Zilara accept the strength of humanity, or would she continue to see them as mere fables? Only time would tell, and the world held its breath, waiting for the next chapter in this evolving story. In the aftermath of the duel, the atmosphere in the hidden stronghold was charged with a mix of hope and uncertainty. Alex Carter stood at the center of the command room, his heart racing as he faced his fellow survivors. The battle against the alien queen had shifted something deep within them all. They were not just fighting for survival anymore. They were fighting for recognition, for dignity, and for the future of humanity. The stories they had once shared, as myths, were now their battle cries, echoing through the hearts of those gathered around him. After today, "We cannot go back," Alex said, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. "We have shown Zilara that we are warriors. But now, we must prepare for what comes next. She may have accepted our strength, but her forces are still out there, and we must unite if we want to reclaim our home." The gravity of his words hung in the air as the survivors exchanged determined glances. They had witnessed the shift in Zilara's perception, but they also knew that the fight was far from over. In the days that followed, the stronghold buzzed with activity. Everyone had a role to play, and a sense of purpose filled the once quiet halls. Engineers worked late into the night, repairing weapons and enhancing their defenses, while others trained tirelessly in combat techniques. Alex led training sessions, guiding the survivors and honing their skills and building their confidence. He encouraged them to draw on their stories, reminding them that each of them carried the legacy of those who had fought before them. Among the group was a young woman named Maya, whose family had been lost to the alien invaders. She had always been quiet, but now she found her voice. "I want to fight," she declared one evening, her eyes shining with determination. "I want to show them that we are not just stories. We are real, and we will not back down." Words ignited a fire within the group, and they rallied around her, each person sharing their own reasons for fighting. It was a moment of unity, reminding them all of the strength they held together as preparations continued. Alex found himself reflecting on the journey that had brought them to this moment. I thought of the countless sacrifices, the loss, and the pain they had endured, but he also thought of the resilience that had emerged from that suffering. They were not just a collection of individuals, they were a community bound by a shared purpose. Each person had a story to tell, a reason to fight, and together they formed an unbreakable bond. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the stronghold, they gathered for a final briefing. Alex stood before them, his heart full as he looked at the faces of his comrades. "Tomorrow, we will face Zilara's forces," he began, his voice steady and filled with conviction. "But we will not face them as mere survivors. We will face them as warriors, united in our fight for our home. We have shown Zilara our strength, and now we will show her our resolve." The room erupted in cheers, their voices rising as they embraced the spirit of defiance. Each survivor felt a sense of purpose coursing through their veins, a reminder that they were part of something greater than themselves. They were fighting not just for their own survival, but for the future of humanity. As the night wore on, stories were shared, laughter filled the air, and a renewed sense of hope enveloped the gathering. They were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As dawn approached, the survivors gathered one last time, preparing for the battle that would define their fate. They donned their makeshift armor, each piece representing a story, a sacrifice, and a dream for a better future. Alex stood at the front, his heart swelling with pride as he looked at the faces of his comrades. "No matter what happens today, remember that we are more than just warriors. We're the spirit of humanity." His voice rang out, filled with passion and conviction. With that, they stepped out of the stronghold, ready to face the alien forces. Together, they marched toward the horizon, a united front against an empire that had dismissed them as mere fables. The sun rose, bathing the world in golden light, and with it came the promise of a new beginning. They were no longer just survivors. They were warriors prepared to reclaim their home and prove that humanity's spirit could not be extinguished. The final preparations had been made, and they were ready to write the next chapter of their story, one filled with courage, hope, and the unwavering belief that they could change their destiny. The morning sun rose over the battlefield, casting a warm glow on the weary but determined faces of the human warriors. Alex Carter stood at the forefront, his heart pounding with a mix of adrenaline and fear. Today was the day they would confront the alien queen, Zillara, and her overwhelming forces. The air was thick with anticipation, and each survivor felt the weight of their shared stories and sacrifices pressing down on them. They were no longer just a band of survivors, but a united force ready to reclaim their home. As the humans took their positions, Alex could see the alien ships hovering ominously in the sky, their dark shapes blotting out the sun. Zilara's forces were vast and menacing, and despite the fear creeping into his heart, he reminded himself of the strength they had found together. He glanced at his comrades, each of them ready to fight for their future. Maya stood beside him, her eyes fierce with determination. "We can do this," she said, squeezing his arm. Her confidence bolstered his spirits, and he nodded. Feeling a surge of hope, the moment of truth arrived as the alien ships began to descend, their engines roaring like thunder. The ground shook beneath their feet, and the humans braced themselves for the onslaught. Zilara's voice boomed from the ships, echoing across the battlefield. "Humans, you dare to challenge me again? You think you can defeat me?" Her laughter was cold and mocking, but it only fueled their resolve. Alex raised his weapon high, his voice cutting through the din. "We are not afraid. We fight for our home, and we will not back down." With that rallying cry, the battle erupted. The humans charged forward, fueled by passion and the desire to prove themselves. They fought with a fierce determination. Each blow struck a testament to their resilience. Alex led the charge, his heart racing as he remembered the faces of those who had fought before him. He could hear their whispers in his mind, urging him on. With every step, he felt their strength pushing him forward. The clash of metal, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and the sounds of battle filled the air as the two sides collided. Alex fought alongside his comrades, dodging blasts and countering attacks with newfound skill. He felt a sense of unity among the humans, each of them working together to fend off the alien onslaught. As the battle raged on, it became clear that the humans were more than just warriors. They were a family, bound together by their shared struggle. As the fight continued, Alex spotted Zillara on the battlefield, her fierce gaze locked onto him. She was a whirlwind of power, commanding her forces with ruthless precision. But Alex did not falter. He charged toward her, determined to confront the queen who had underestimated humanity for far too long. The air crackled with energy as they faced each other, their destinies intertwined in that pivotal moment. "Do you really think you can defeat me, human?" Zillara taunted, her voice dripping with arrogance. "You are nothing but a fleeting dream." But Alex stood tall, his resolve unshaken. "I am not just a dream. I am the hope of my people," he declared, his voice steady. "We'll see the strength of humanity today." The two clashed, their weapons meeting with a force that sent shockwaves through the battlefield. Each strike was a battle of wills, Zilara's power against Alex's determination. He knew that he was fighting for more than just victory. Was fighting for every human who had ever been dismissed as a fable. With every blow, he channeled the stories of his ancestors, drawing strength from their sacrifices. As the fight raged on, Alex found himself growing stronger, fueled by the belief that they could win. He began to anticipate Zilara's moves, dodging her attacks with newfound agility. With a swift maneuver, he disarmed her, sending her weapon flying from her grasp. The crowd of humans erupted in cheers, their voices rising like a wave of hope. Zillara staggered back, surprise etched on her face as she realized she was losing control. In that moment of vulnerability, Alex seized the opportunity to speak. "You have underestimated us for far too long, Zillara. We are not weak. We are a force of nature." He raised his weapon, ready to strike the final blow. But as he looked into her eyes, he saw a flicker of something new, a hint of respect, perhaps even understanding. "You could choose to rule with us, rather than over us," he said, his voice steady. Zillara hesitated, her expression shifting as she grappled with the weight of his words. In that moment, the battlefield fell silent. The The humans watched, breathless, as the alien queen considered the possibility. Alex could see her arrogance beginning to crumble, and he knew that their fight had changed the course of their destinies. "You are strong, human," she finally admitted, her voice softer than before. "Perhaps there is more to your kind than I realized." With those words, the battle transformed. The humans and aliens stood at a crossroads, a chance for understanding, hanging in the air. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the battlefield, hope blossomed in the hearts of both sides. The last stand had revealed not just the strength of humanity, but the potential for a new alliance. Together, they could forge a path toward a future where both species could coexist. The fight was not just about victory. It was about acceptance and unity. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Alex felt a sense of peace wash over him. They had shown Zillera that they were more than mere fables. They were warriors with a spirit that could not be extinguished. The last stand had become a new beginning, a testament to the power of hope, courage, and the endless possibilities that lay ahead.